Okay, now we need to talk about our fourth and final biomolecule, the protein. First, think about what are some proteins that you could eat. What would you need to eat if you needed protein in your diet? Okay, hopefully you thought of a few of these things. Animal meat, such as burgers, shrimp, lobster, crab, burgers, bacon. Not only animal meat, but also animal products. So milk and eggs, yogurt and cheese, these are all very high in protein. And fish is a very healthy, lean protein that does not have a lot of lipid in it, like the other meats. Proteins are known as the multi-purpose molecule because they do everything that the other three biomolecules don't do. Okay, so let's think back and think about what all the other ones do. Carbohydrates are for quick energy. Lipids are for long-term storage of energy, cushion, and insulation. Nucleic acids are for genetic storage and genetic transmission. Proteins are for everything else that your body needs. Let's look at some examples of proteins. Your muscles, all protein. That's why you drink protein shakes when you work out to help you build muscle. Your fingernails and animal claws, all protein. Your skin is made of protein. Your hair is protein. And then there are also enzymes, which is a special group of proteins that we're going to spend tomorrow talking about. There are also some hormones that are proteins, such as insulin. Insulin is a really important protein that helps you to keep your blood sugar level in homeostasis. Hemoglobin is another protein that is found in your red blood cells, whose job it is to carry oxygen throughout your body and carbon dioxide up to your lungs so you can get rid of it. So what are some of the things that proteins do? I'm going to list a few, but these are just a few. Proteins do everything that the other three don't. So they're involved with hormones, such as insulin. They're involved with movement, so your muscles and your skin help with movement. They're part of your immune system. They help protect you against sickness and germs. They are enzymes, which are what help you to digest food, build muscle. Proteins, again, are made out of all four of our big elements: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. So now two of our biomolecules are made out of all four. Nucleic acids and proteins include nitrogen. Proteins' building blocks are called amino acids. One amino acid does not make a protein. You have to have lots of amino acids chained together. The image here in the corner is an image of an amino acid. Some people say it kind of looks like a fish. Some people says it looks like a paintball gun. Whatever helps you remember it, because once again, you need to be able to recognize an amino acid from an image. The key to recognizing an amino acid is that yellow box here at the bottom called a variable group. Only an amino acid will have this box there called a variable group. Sometimes instead of variable group, you will see the letter R or R group. There are 20 different amino acids that exist. All of them have the same top area here that looks like a fish. These hydrogens, oxygens, and this one nitrogen. All of them are identical there. But each one is unique right here in this variable group. That's what that variable group stands for, that it is variable among the 20 different amino acids. And that's what gives each one their identity. Here is an image of lots of amino acids chained together. Notice each one has that R group or that variable group to represent that this is how they are different. But that's how you know you have an amino acid. You see that R there. Now, each amino acid is a little bit different and has a little bit different property. Two important properties are whether or not they like water. If the amino acid likes water, then when it comes into contact, it can dissolve in it. But some fear water and they separate from it. They try to get away from it, just like those lipids. So let's use some of those prefixes and suffixes that we studied at the beginning of the year. Amino acids that hate water are called hydrophobic. Hydro, water, phobic, fear of. So these guys fear water. So these amino acids, when they're inside your cell, which is made up mostly of water, they want to try to get away from water. So what happens is the protein is going to fold up. And those amino acids that make up that protein, that are hydrophobic, are going to fold and they're going to hide in the middle of the protein. So in the image below, the red circles represent hydrophobic amino acids. Notice that when the protein folds up into its shape, all the red ones are in the center. They are hiding from the water inside the cell. Other amino acids are hydrophilic. Hydro, water, philic, loving. Hydrophilic amino acids love water. They like to interact with water. So when the protein folds, the hydrophilic amino acids will stay on the outside. Notice in the picture below, the blue circles represent the hydrophilic amino acids. In the folded protein, all the blue are on the outside interacting with the water. This folding and this fear or love of water gives proteins its shape. And that is the most important thing about a protein. Its shape. It is all about the shape. That is the most important thing about a protein. If a protein is not the right shape, it will not work. If you destroy a protein, if you make it fall apart, if you make it lose its shape, this shape is so important that losing its shape has its very own vocabulary word, denature. Denature, it just means a protein has fallen apart. And once a protein has fallen apart, that's it. It doesn't work anymore. And it will never work again. You cannot fix a denatured protein. Think about cooking eggs. When you first crack open a fresh egg, what does it look like? It's all clear and goopy, right? But when you toss that goopy egg into a frying pan into the heat, what happens to it? It becomes solid and white. The reason why is because that egg is full of protein. And when it hits the heat, it causes it to denature and fall apart and get all tangled up. And when it gets all tangled up, that's when it's solid, and it also begins to look clear. Now, can you take that solid white egg and somehow turn it back into a goopy clear egg? No, because denaturing is permanent. You cannot fix that protein. That's why it's so important to make sure that you get a control over fevers. If you have a really high fever, once you get it to about 105, they're going to rush you to the emergency room, and they're going to put you in an ice bath to try to instantly reduce your temperature. Because if your temperature gets too high, all of your proteins start to denature. What are the first ones to go? Your brain proteins, because your brain is made out of protein. And your brain can't repair itself. So if you denature your brain proteins, that's permanent. That's why we have to maintain homeostasis. So after all that, you should know now that temperature is one thing that can cause a protein to denature. Another thing is the pH level. All proteins need a specific pH to work in. Some like a really high pH, so they like bases. Some like a really low pH, so they like acids. And they can't get out of their happy range. If they do, they denature. We'll be doing a lab on this soon to see how things can affect how well a protein works. But remember, the most important thing about a protein is its shape.